The film begins with a girl driving her car on the road when suddenly an earthquake occurs, and rocks collapse on her. She loses control of the car and falls off the mountain. Fortunately, the car gets stuck between the rocks. Moments later, a rescue plane moves towards the accident site. With the rescue team is a reporter named Serena who talks to the team members about their previous rescue operations. She asks Raymond, the team leader, how he managed to successfully complete more than 600 rescue operations, especially since they took place in different locations. Raymond tells her that he is just doing his duty. They then arrive at the car's location, and Raymond communicates with the girl to reassure her. However, he notices that the distance between him and the car is far, so he decides to land the plane in a narrow spot between the rocks to get as close as possible and rescue the girl before the car falls. One of the team members then descends and ties the car with a rope connected to the plane, but his hand gets stuck under the car. At that moment, the plane loses its balance because the car's weight is very heavy. Raymond manages to quickly regain control of the plane and decides to go down himself to help his colleague and rescue the girl, especially since the plane's engine could fail at any moment. As soon as Raymond reaches the car, he breaks the door, then grabs the girl and pulls her out of the car. He asks his colleague to cut the rope tied to the car. His colleague cuts the rope, and the car falls off the mountain. Raymond manages to save the girl and his colleague from death at the last moment. We then go to a doctor named Lawrence, who is giving a lecture on earthquakes. Lawrence says that the power of earthquakes is sometimes equivalent to the power of nuclear bombs, and at other times, it is much stronger, causing massive destruction that wipes entire cities off the map. Lawrence gives examples of earthquakes that have occurred in many places around the world and says that he is currently working on a new program to predict earthquakes, hoping to warn people about the places where earthquakes will occur before they happen. After the lecture, his assistant, Kim, enters his office and informs him that they have detected earthquake activity in a nearby state. Lawrence decides to take Kim and go to that state quickly. We then go to Raymond, who has finished his work and is returning home. He receives a call from his daughter, Blake, who is staying with her mother, Emma, at her husband Daniel's house. We learn that Lawrence and Emma separated some time ago after the death of their daughter, Mallory. Blake then asks her father to bring her bicycle because she wants to go to university with it. At this time, we see Lawrence standing on the dam from which seismic pulses are being emitted. Lawrence communicates with Kim, who is inside the dam. Lawrence is happy because the experiment was successful and they were able to record data that will help them predict the earthquake. But Kim notices that the seismic pulses are increasing rapidly. At that moment, a very strong earthquake occurs. Lawrence is terrified and asks Kim to get out of his location quickly. Everyone on the dam runs quickly to save themselves. Kim manages to get out of the dam and runs quickly to save himself, but the earthquake's power increases and the dam collapses. Kim then sees a small girl who is scared and crying, so he picks her up and runs quickly to save her. When Lawrence sees him, he runs towards him, but the part where Kim is begins to collapse, so Kim sacrifices his life and throws the girl towards Lawrence. The dam then completely collapses and Kim dies. Lawrence stands shocked and unable to comprehend that Kim died. At this time, Raymond is on his way to his daughter and receives a message from work, learning about the earthquake that occurred. He decides to take the bicycle to his daughter, Blake, and then return to work. There, he meets Blake, his ex-wife Emma, and her husband Daniel. Raymond apologizes to Blake because he had promised to take her on a trip to San Francisco, and now he has to go to work to participate in rescue operations due to the earthquake. Daniel offers to take Blake with him on his way to work, but Raymond gets annoyed because Daniel is trying to show Blake that he cares about her more than her father. Raymond leaves the house upset, and Emma goes after him to calm him down, but he ignores her words, gives her Blake's bicycle, and leaves. The next day, Blake is with Daniel on the plane. Daniel talks to Blake and tells her that he didn't mean to cancel her relationship with her father or take his place. Blake tells him that she understands his position. They then arrive at the airport and go to Daniel's company. There, Daniel asks Blake to wait for him until he finishes his meeting and returns to her. At this time, Lawrence returns to his office, saddened by Kim's death. One of his assistants then informs him that Serena wants to meet him because she wants to do a journalistic interview with him about the earthquake. During the interview, one of Lawrence's assistants interrupts them and tells him that they have detected significant activity from a group of earthquakes. Lawrence gets nervous and begins to analyze the data and study the movement of these earthquakes. He is shocked when he learns that they will be very strong because the source of the earthquake is a place called San Andreas, and this place is known to be an active earthquake zone, which means that a large number of earthquakes will occur. He marks the places where these earthquakes will occur on the map and says that they will cause massive destruction, and therefore he must contact the authorities as soon as possible. At the company, Blake meets an engineer named Ben, who is there for a job interview. He is with his younger brother, Ollie. Ben asks her if Daniel is her father because he saw her come with him earlier. She explains to him that Daniel is her stepfather. At that moment, the secretary comes and calls Ben for the interview. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Emma is having lunch with Daniel's sister to get to know her. It appears that Daniel's sister is not happy about Daniel's marriage to Emma because she thinks that Emma and her daughter are after his money. Emma seems annoyed by her words. At that moment, she receives a call from Raymond, so she leaves and goes to answer it. Here, Emma notices that the table in front of her is shaking, and suddenly an earthquake destroys the entire place. Raymond asks Emma to go to the roof of the building, and he will rescue her with the plane. We then go to San Francisco, where Daniel has finished his meeting and is taking Blake to leave. But as they are leaving the garage, an earthquake occurs, and the entire place is destroyed. The driver tries to quickly get the car out of the garage, but the ground collapses, and the car falls to the floor below. A part of the roof falls on them, and the driver dies. At that moment, Blake's leg gets stuck in the seat. Daniel gets out and tries to pull her out of the car, but he discovers that the concrete block is huge, and he won't be able to lift it. He tells her that he will go get help and come back. At that moment, Ben hears Daniel asking for help from a security guard and understands that Blake is in the garage and trapped inside the car. Ben is shocked when he finds Daniel afraid for himself and fleeing the scene. We then go to Emma, who tells Daniel's sister that she will come with her to the roof and informs her that a plane will come to rescue them. But Daniel's sister does not listen to her and exits through the emergency door, hoping to save herself. Emma goes after her to try to stop her, but she is shocked to discover that the part behind the door has completely collapsed. She understands that Daniel's sister fell from that height and died. Emma runs to the roof and tries to warn the other people not to go down the stairs, but none of them listen to her. As soon as she reaches the roof, the ground collapses, and she falls to the floor below. After she recovers from the fall, she tries to get to the roof. At that moment, Raymond arrives and sees her, but suddenly an explosion occurs in the building, and fire surrounds Emma from all sides. Emma notices that the highest point on the roof is not on fire, so she signals to Raymond and tells him to wait for her there. Raymond follows her instructions and goes to wait for her. He turns on the autopilot and lowers the rescue harness to pull her up. As Emma moves on her way, the skyscraper next to her collapses. Raymond calls out to her to run as fast as she can. Emma runs, but dust covers the entire place. Raymond keeps pulling the rope, hoping that he has saved her, and he is happy when he discovers that she has indeed managed to reach the harness. He pulls her up and quickly brings her into the plane. But the problem is that the surrounding buildings are completely destroyed, and the plane is subjected to strong shocks due to the collapse of the surrounding buildings. Parts of the buildings fall on the plane, and it goes out of control. Raymond grabs the control stick with all his might and miraculously manages to control the plane. At this time, Blake is still trapped in the car. She takes out her phone and calls her father to rescue her, informing him that she is trapped inside a car in an underground garage due to the earthquake, but the line is cut due to weak network. At this moment, Ben and Ollie arrive at the garage and try to move the concrete off the car so that Blake can get her leg out, but the roof collapses further and the attempt fails. Here, Blake feels that she might be the cause of their death, so she asks them to leave her before the building collapses completely, but Ben refuses to leave her and decides to try again to save her. This time, he opens the car's trunk and takes out the jack to lift the concrete block, but he discovers that the jack's height is not enough to free Blake. So he grabs an iron bar and bursts the car's tires. At that moment, the car sinks further into the ground, and Blake manages to free her leg. Ben quickly pulls her out and takes her and Ollie, and they quickly exit the garage. But they are shocked when they see the chaotic state of the street due to the collapses happening everywhere around them. It appears that Blake wants to call her father from a landline, and fortunately, Ollie has a guide to all the places in the city and tells them that they will surely find a place in that guide from which they can talk. At this time, Lawrence takes advantage of Serena's presence with him and decides to do a live broadcast and warn people about the disaster that will happen. We return to Blake and her companions, who have reached an electronics store. Blake uses the landline and calls Raymond, reassuring him that she managed to get out of the garage. Blake is surprised when she learns that her mother is with her father in the plane and wants to know the reason, but Raymond tells her that he will tell her later. Blake then talks to her mother and tells her that Daniel abandoned her and ran away. Here, Emma regrets that she chose the wrong man. Raymond then describes a specific building to Blake and asks her to go to the roof of that building, and he will come to rescue her. After Raymond ends the call, he is surprised that the plane's engine suddenly breaks down, so he is forced to make an emergency landing anywhere. He manages to land the plane inside a large store. At that moment, he finds many people stealing things from the store, so he takes Emma and goes out to look for a car until he finds a car that appears to be stolen. He decides to take it, but the thief comes from behind him and points a weapon at him. Raymond hits him hard, and he faints. Then he takes the car and leaves. At that time, Lawrence is on live broadcast and continues to warn people, informing them that the earthquakes have not ended and that the coming earthquakes will be stronger. He confirms that these earthquakes will hit San Francisco, and therefore he asks all residents to escape from the city by any means. As for Raymond, he is on his way with his wife Emma to rescue their daughter. He notices that a man and his wife are standing on the road and warning them about something specific, but Raymond does not understand what they want until he suddenly finds himself in front of a very large crack that has cut the road completely. He goes back to those man and woman to thank them for warning him. While they are talking, Raymond learns that this man was an old pilot and that he has a plane, but his son uses it. Because his son is traveling, he and his wife decided to take the car and leave the city, but the car broke down on the way. Raymond offers to exchange the car for the plane, and the man agrees. Before Raymond takes off with the plane, he talks to Emma about the death of their daughter, Mallory, and this is the first time Raymond talks about the matter. We learn that Emma separated from him because he remained silent and refused to tell her how their daughter died. Raymond says that he feels guilty because he was the one who let his daughter go on the rafting trip she wanted to go on, and at that time, his daughter drowned, and he could not save her. Emma sympathizes with him and tells him that it is not his fault and informs him that it was her destiny, and they had no hand in it. She asks him to forget his sorrows and focus on saving their other daughter before she dies. At this time, Blake is on her way to the place Raymond mentioned. She finds a fire truck parked in the street, so she looks for the supply box until she finds it. When she opens it, she finds a wireless emergency device inside, so she takes it and keeps it. Here, Ben tells her that the building Raymond mentioned has been destroyed, so Blake suggests that they look for a high place so that Raymond can reach them easily. We return to Raymond, who cannot find a place to land the plane because all the airports have been destroyed. But he sees a baseball field in front of him, so he informs Emma that they must parachute into that field. Emma gets nervous and is scared because it is her first time doing so, but Raymond reassures her, and they actually parachute into the field. After they exit the field, an earthquake occurs. Raymond quickly moves and directs people to a safe place away from danger. After the earthquake ends, Raymond and Emma are shocked by the amount of destruction that occurred. Raymond then decides to take a boat and go to the place where their daughter is by sea. But on the way, Raymond notices strange movement in the water, so he understands that a tsunami will occur. He drives the boat at full speed to get away from the danger zone. At this moment, Blake hears a warning on the wireless device that a strong tsunami will hit the city, so she decides to take Ben and Ollie and quickly move to the nearest building to protect themselves. As for Raymond and Emma, they are shocked when they find themselves in front of high waves, so Raymond increases the boat's speed to pass before they are overwhelmed. When they pass these waves, they find themselves in front of a giant cargo ship. Raymond avoids it at the last moment, and also manages to avoid the containers falling from it until he is completely away from danger. At this time, Daniel is on the bridge and trying to save himself, but the ship collides with the bridge. At that moment, Daniel and everyone on the bridge die. After that, the storm continues on its way, destroying a large cruise ship and all the buildings in its path. As for Blake and her companions, they have reached a building to hide in. Moments later, Blake is happy when she sees her father and mother in the boat, so she tries to call out to them, but they do not hear her because she is behind the glass. Here, Ollie remembers the laser device he took from the electronics store, so Blake uses it and directs it at the boat to attract her parents' attention. Indeed, they notice her and are happy that they found her, but they are shocked when they see the building suddenly collapsing, and water enters the floor where their daughter is. Raymond asks Emma to wait for him in the boat and dives into the water quickly to save his daughter and her companions. At this moment, Ben takes Ollie, and they go up to the floor above, and he tells him that he will go save Blake and come back to him, but an earthquake occurs, and Ben falls to the ground. At that moment, the water begins to completely flood the place they are in. As for Raymond, he has reached Blake and is shocked when he finds her trapped inside a room and unable to get out. He is even more shocked when he finds her drowning in front of him, so he gathers all his strength and keeps hitting the door until he breaks it. Then he takes his daughter and pulls her out of the water. At that moment, he finds Ben and Ollie in front of him, and they are shocked when they see Blake in this condition. Raymond tries to give her artificial respiration to save her life. Here, Ben tries to break the glass to get out of the building before it collapses. At that moment, Emma notices them and sees Raymond trying to revive Blake, so she moves the boat at high speed and breaks the glass, taking them all onto the boat and exiting the building before it collapses at the last moment. Despite all of Raymond's attempts to save Blake, he fails, so Emma collapses because she lost her second daughter. Ben and Ollie keep crying because of Blake's death, but Raymond refuses to give up and keeps trying to save her until Blake wakes up and starts breathing. At that moment, Emma is overjoyed and hugs her daughter. As for Ben and Ollie, they hug each other and cry with intense joy. After some time, the earthquake ends completely, and we see Lawrence and his companions watching the news, all of which say that Lawrence's warning contributed to saving the lives of a large number of people. At that moment, Serena tells him that she is very proud of him and what he did. We return to San Francisco, which has been completely destroyed, and army forces and rescue teams are everywhere, helping people. Raymond is standing with Emma, Blake, Ben, and Ollie. We learn that Raymond and Emma decided to start a new life together and intend to remarry. The film ends.